The computer and its basic concept. Today's world is an information-rich world, and it has become a necessity for everyone to know about computers. Purpose of this lesson is to introduce you about computer and its basic concept.
Disclaimer. All material available for the course is in terms of audios, videos, or any other support material may not be my solo property. It may be part of the offering as the support material and may be property of other individuals and entities. This is being used for the educational purpose and has no commercial implication or purpose. This entire material is not downloadable or for free circulation or for commercial selling by and of the student in any circumstances. This material is available for registered students only as reference material, and any kind of sharing, copying, downloading, selling/forwarding to someone else or to allow access on UID to any person, individual, company is strictly prohibited and would be a clear violation.
Today, computers are all around us. From desktop computers to smartphones, they are changing the way that we live our lives. But have you ever asked yourself, what exactly is a computer? A computer is an electronic device that manipulates information or data. The computer sees data as ones and zeros, but it knows how to combine them into more complex things, such as a photograph, a movie, a website, a game, and much more. Computers use a combination of hardware and software. Hardware is any physical part of the computer, which includes all of the internal components and also the external parts like the monitor and the keyboard. Software is any set of instructions that tells the hardware what to do, such as a web browser, media player, or word processor. Now, when most people say computer, they're talking about a personal computer. This can be a desktop computer or a laptop computer, which has basically the same capabilities, but in a more portable package. Personal computers come in two main styles, PC and Mac. PCs are the most common type. There are many different companies that make them, and they usually come with the Microsoft Windows operating system. Macs, or Macintosh computers, are all made by one company, Apple, and they come with the Mac OS X operating system. Computers come in many other shapes and sizes. Mobile phones, tablets, game consoles, and even TVs have built-in computers, although they may not do everything a desktop or a laptop can. There's another type of computer that plays an important role in our lives: servers. A server serves information to other computers on a network. In fact, every time you use the internet, web servers deliver the web pages that you want to see to your computer. Servers are also used in many offices to store and share files.
How does it work?
Do you remember when you first realized that your computer was more than just a monitor and keyboard? That between the mouse click and the video playing, there was something that captured your attention, understood it, and made it real? What is that something? Is it gremlins? Let's imagine that we can shrink down to the size of an electron and inject ourselves into a click of a mouse. If you took your mouse apart, you'd see that it's really a very simple machine. It has a couple buttons and a system for detecting motion and distance. You might have an optical mouse that makes these measurements with lights and sensors, but older ones did this with a hard rubber ball and some plastic wheels. Same concept. When you click the button on your mouse, it sends a message to the computer with information about its position. When your mouse click is received, it's handled by the basic input-output subsystem. This subsystem acts like the eyes and ears, and mouth and hands of the computer. Basically, it provides a way for the computer to interact with its environment. But it also acts like a buffer to keep the CPU from being overwhelmed by distractions. In this case, the I/O subsystem decides that your mouse click is pretty important, so it generates an interrupt to the CPU. Hey CPU, got a click here. The CPU, or central processing unit, is the brains of the whole computer. Just like your brain doesn't take up your whole body, the CPU doesn't take up the whole computer, but it runs the show all the same. And the CPU's job, its whole job, is fetching instructions from memory and executing them. So while you're typing, maybe really fast, like 60 words a minute, the CPU is fetching and executing billions of instructions a second. Yes, billions, every second. Instructions to move your mouse around on the screen, to run that clock widget on your desktop, play your internet radio, manage the files you're editing on the hard drive, and much, much more. Your computer's CPU is one heck of a multitasker. But oh my gosh, there's a very important mouse click coming through now. Let's drop everything now and deal with that. There are programs for everything that the CPU does. A special program for the mouse, for the clock widget, for the internet radio, and for dealing with letters sent by the keyboard. Each program was initially written by a human in a human-readable programming language like Java, C++, or Python. But human programs take up a lot of space and contain a lot of unnecessary information to a computer, so they're compiled and made smaller and stored in bits of ones and zeros in memory. The CPU realizes that it needs instructions for how to deal with this mouse click, so it looks up the address for the mouse program and sends a request to the memory subsystem for instructions stored there. Each instruction in the mouse device driver is duly fetched and executed. And that's not nearly the end of the story. Because the CPU learns that the mouse was clicked when the cursor was over a picture of a button on the monitor screen, and so the CPU asks memory for the monitor program to find out what that button is. And then the CPU has to ask memory for the program for the button, which means that the CPU needs the monitor program again to show the video associated with the button, and so it goes. And let's just say that there are a lot of programs involved before you even see the button on the screen light up when you clicked it. So just the simple task of clicking your mouse means visiting all of the critical components of your computer's architecture. Peripherals, the basic input-output system, the CPU, programs, and memory, and not one gremlin.
What is a basic input and output system?
The Central Processing Unit, or CPU, is the part of the computer that performs calculations and carries out instructions. It is sometimes called the processor, and is a silicon chip located inside the system unit. It acts like a tiny fast calculator, processing information that flows into it, or input, and generating and forwarding information, or output. A peripheral device is any device you can add to and use on your computer. These devices can be either input or output peripherals. To put information into your PC, you need an input device. The keyboard and the mouse are the two most common input devices. Computer systems can have many different output devices, each converting data into a readable form. The two most common output devices are monitors and printers. Memory is the place in the computer that temporarily stores information while it is being processed. The two main types of memory are random access memory, or RAM, and read-only memory, or ROM. RAM is used to store temporary data. It contains all new data entered since you last saved your work. RAM changes constantly, and its contents are lost when the computer is switched off. The contents of ROM are secured during manufacture and are permanent. For example, ROM stores data containing the instructions needed to get the computer working properly as soon as it is switched on. Virtually all computers have a hard disk. Once a computer is finished processing information, that information must be stored somewhere permanently. The hard disk is a computer's long-term storage device. Information stored on the hard disk remains there even when the computer is switched off. There is a range of removable storage devices available, including diskettes or floppy disks, zip disks, CDs, DVDs, and removable cartridges or digital tapes.
Computers in education. Computer technology has had a deep impact on the education sector. Thanks to computers, imparting education has become easier and much more interesting than before. Owing to memory capacities of computers, large chunks of data can be stored in them. They enable quick processing of data with very less or no chances of errors in processing. Network computers aid quick communication and enable web access. Storing documents on computers in the form of soft copies instead of hard ones helps save paper. Computers are brilliant aid in teaching. Students find it easier to refer to the internet than searching for information in fact books. The process of learning has gone beyond learning from prescribed textbooks. Internet is a much larger and easier to access storehouse of information. When it comes to storing retrieved information, it is easier done on computers than maintaining handwritten notes.
Audio Jungle.
The computer and its basic concept. Prepared by Diane May Tolentino. CTP Batch 9.